For years, Rick Harrison was the face of modern pawn culture, the sharp-talking businessman behind the counter of the gold and silver pawn shop and the calm, calculating mind at the center of the hit reality series Pawn Stars. Week after week, millions of viewers tuned in to watch him examine rare artifacts, negotiate high-stakes deals, and turn dusty pieces of history into cold, hard cash. Alongside his father Richard the Old Man Harrison and fan favorites like Corey and Chumlee, Rick helped turn a small Las Vegas pawn shop into a global television empire on the History Channel. At its peak, Pawn Stars was one of the most watched reality shows on television. The shop became a tourist attraction. The brand expanded. Books were written. Businesses opened. Rick Harrison wasn't just doing deals anymore. He was building a legacy. But fast forward to today, and things feel very different. The television landscape has changed. Reality TV is not what it used to be. The excitement that once surrounded pawn shop negotiations has faded. Personal tragedies have shaken the family. Business controversies, lawsuits, shifting public interest, and the natural aging of a long-running show have all taken their toll. The man who once seemed untouchable behind the counter is now facing a reality that every television personality eventually confronts. Fame does not last forever. So what really happened to Rick Harrison? Is his career truly over? Or is this just another chapter in a life built on risk and reinvention? How did one of the biggest stars on cable television slowly step out of the spotlight? Today, we are taking a deep look at the rise, the peak, and the uncertain future of the man who once ruled the pawn world.
House now, and they put the bridge in, and then like the 70s, they built the main house, and then...
Rick Harrison was born in 1965 in Lexington, into a family that carried both strong opinions and a deep sense of history. His father, Richard Benjamin Harrison Jr., was a tough and disciplined man who had served in the United States Navy, while his mother, Joanne Rue Harrison, was the steady presence who held everything together at home. Rick grew up surrounded by siblings, including his sister Sherry Joan Harrison, who tragically passed away at the young age of 6, an event that left a quiet but lasting mark on the family. He also had an older brother, Joseph Kent Harrison, and a younger brother, Chris Harrison, creating a household that was rarely calm and never dull. Family stories often included a fascinating claim that they were related to William Henry Harrison, the 9th President of the United States. According to Rick's son Corey, Rick's grandfather believed strongly in this connection, insisting that their family line stretched all the way back to the White House. Rick himself has always been skeptical about that idea, brushing it off with a bit of humor and doubt, although his father maintained that they were at least distantly related to Benjamin Harrison, who was the grandson of William Henry Harrison. When Rick was just 2 years old, life changed in a big way because his father was transferred by the Navy to San Diego, and the entire family packed up and moved across the country. The sunny beaches and wide skies of Southern California became the backdrop of Rick's childhood, but it was not an easy childhood in many ways. At the age of 8, Rick began suffering from epileptic seizures, a condition that forced him to slow down when other kids were running around and exploring the world freely. He spent long stretches of time confined to his bed, unable to participate in normal childhood activities. And while that might have crushed the spirit of some children, it quietly reshaped his future. Because he was often stuck indoors, Rick turned to books as his escape and his adventure. Reading was not just a hobby. It became a lifeline, a doorway into worlds where he could travel, learn, and imagine without limits. He devoured history books, stories about business, and tales of clever characters who could outthink the odds. Among the stories that deeply captured his imagination was a series by John D. Fitzgerald called The Great Brain. The books followed a 10-year-old boy named Tom D. Fitzgerald, a clever and ambitious young con artist from Utah who was constantly inventing bold schemes to make money. Rick became fascinated by Tom's sharp mind and fearless creativity, and those stories did more than entertain him. They shaped the way he began to see the world. While other teenagers were focused only on sports or music, Rick could spend hours reading about scientific principles or flipping through detailed accounts of naval warfare, especially stories about the Royal Navy during the late 1700s and early 1800s, a period filled with massive ships, global conflicts, and powerful empires battling for control of the seas. He loved the strategy behind naval battles, the engineering of the ships, and the political drama that shaped entire nations, because to him history was not just about dates, but about decisions, risks, and consequences. Rick attended Taft Middle School in San Diego, part of the San Diego Unified School District. But traditional education did not hold his attention for long, because by the time he reached 10th grade, he had already started thinking like an entrepreneur. He eventually dropped out of high school to focus on what he proudly described as his $2,000 a week business, selling fake Gucci bags, a risky hustle that showed both his ambition and his willingness to bend rules in pursuit of quick money. While it was not exactly a noble business venture, it demonstrated that he had confidence in his ability to sell, negotiate, and spot demand. In April 1981, after his parents' real estate business collapsed, the Harrison family moved to Las Vegas, a city built on risk, reinvention, and second chances, which turned out to be the perfect environment for someone like Rick. When he was only 17 years old, his girlfriend Kim became pregnant, and although she later suffered a miscarriage, the experience pushed them to get married because they felt responsible and committed to building a life together. On April 27, 1983, their first son, Corey, was born, bringing new pressure and new purpose into Rick's young life. Within 2 years, their second son, Adam, was born, and although the family seemed complete on the outside, the marriage struggled under the weight of youth and responsibility, and soon after Adam's birth, Rick and Kim separated. Only 9 months later, Rick met Tracy on a blind double date, and what began as a simple evening out quickly turned into something serious. After 6 months of dating, they moved in together, and 8 months later they married, with Tracy stepping into the demanding role of helping raise Corey and Adam as her own. Together, they also had a son named Jake, blending their family into a new chapter of Rick's life.
Remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I had you guys build me a loft in my garage that was all bucked up.
Meanwhile, in 1981, Rick's father opened a small 300-square-foot secondhand store called the Gold and Silver Coin Shop on Las Vegas Boulevard South, and Rick worked there during the day while repossessing cars at night to bring in extra income, juggling exhaustion with determination because he understood that building something real required sacrifice. After 5 years, the shop moved to a larger location on Fremont Street, but 2 years later they lost their lease and had to relocate again, eventually settling into a commercial neighborhood back on Las Vegas Boulevard. Rick later explained in his autobiography that turning the coin shop into a pawn shop felt like a natural and logical progression, but a 1955 Las Vegas law strictly limited the number of pawn licenses based on the city's population, making those licenses rare and highly valuable. Because the city's population needed to reach 250,000 before a new license could be issued, Rick called the city statistician every single week to monitor the numbers so they could apply immediately once the requirement was met.
What's this I hear about that there could be buried treasure on the property?
Okay.
According to Rick Harrison, the most common items people bring into the store are pieces of jewelry, because gold and diamonds are easy to evaluate and easy to sell. And since the launch of Pawn Stars, the shop's inventory has typically balanced around 5,000 pawned items out of roughly 12,000 total items in stock, creating a constantly shifting treasure hunt where history, desperation, nostalgia, and opportunity all sit side by side on the shelves. In 2015, Rick expanded his footprint in the plaza by opening Smoke Barbecue and Tavern, a laid-back barbecue spot where he occasionally steps behind the bar himself, proving that even as a television personality, he still enjoys staying connected to the everyday hustle of business. The road to television fame, however, was anything but easy because Rick spent 4 long years pitching the idea of a reality show centered on a pawn shop after the store appeared on Insomniac with Dave Attell in 2003. And although producers initially passed on the concept again and again, he refused to give up until 2008, when the idea finally clicked and Pawn Stars premiered on History. The show featured Rick, his father Richard Harrison, affectionately known as the Old Man, his son Corey, Big Hoss, and Corey's childhood friend Austin Chumlee Russell, creating a mix of sharp negotiation, generational tension, and unexpected humor that audiences quickly embraced. In 2010, the National Pawnbrokers Association honored Rick with its Pawnbroker of the Year award for helping change public perception of the industry, and by January 2011 Pawn Stars had become the highest-rated program on History and the second highest-rated reality show on television, trailing only Jersey Shore. On June 7, 2011, Rick published his autobiography, License to Pawn: Deals, Steals, and My Life at the Gold and Silver, which climbed to number 22 on the New York Times bestseller list, confirming that his story of risk, failure, persistence, and negotiation resonated far beyond the pawn counter. Over time, Rick Harrison and the Pawn Stars brand began facing business controversies and legal disputes, including family-related lawsuits that brought unwanted public attention to the operations behind the gold and silver pawn shop, while at the same time shifting public interest and the rise of streaming platforms slowly reduced the dominance the show once had on cable television, making it harder to maintain the cultural momentum that had once made Rick one of the most recognizable faces on the History. His life has also not been without heartbreak, because in January 2024 his son Adam passed away from a substance misuse, a devastating loss for the family. Adam had once worked at the shop before later becoming a plumber and had chosen to stay away from the spotlight, as Corey explained years earlier that Adam had no interest in appearing on the show. In 2025, Rick and Chumlee launched the Pawn Stars After Dark podcast to share behind-the-scenes stories and untold moments from the shop with fans, continuing to expand the brand that began in a tiny coin store decades earlier. Today, after 4 divorces and many life lessons, Rick is married to Angie Polishkin.